Hello everyone, welcome to Waffle Wednesday Kitchen. Today I'm so excited to share with you Newfoundland Tulip Cookies. The original recipe calls for a cake mix, but we're going to do it sugar-free and gluten-free right from scratch. We're going to start on our base first. Really important to keep all of this at room temperature and make sure that you weigh your almond flour, because if you don't, it could come out too dense or too dry. You will also need one of these fun little pans. This is a ladyfinger pan. You could also use an eclair pan. These are the ingredients you will need for your custard part. As we're going along, I'll just put up the amounts that you need in text format. Okay, so we measured out our almond flour. Now we're going to put in our monk fruit, our stevia. You can take or leave the stevia. Salt, absolutely, and the baking powder. Hopefully your baking powder doesn't give you as much trouble as it was giving me. Come on, you can do it. Get in there. Come on, last little bit. Come on. Get in there, get in the bowl. There you go. You got it. Okay, moving forward, we give it a little mix up, give it a good stir, get everything incorporated in there. Put that aside for a minute, and then we're going to work on our wet ingredients. Yeah, you got the butter, 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 butter. Onto the almond milk and the 3 eggs. Sorry, I haven't mastered the 1 egg crack yet, but I'm working on it, folks. Your vanilla. Really important to get the eggs really incorporated in there. And now we're just going to add the wet ingredients and the dry ingredients together. And we're just going to mix it until the batter has a really nice consistency. It's going to be maybe a little bit thicker than a cake mix, but not too much more thicker than a cake mix. This is about where you'd like to have it at. Your almond flour may take a minute or so just to absorb all the wetness. When it's ready, you're going to grab a piping bag. Unfortunately, mine broke, and I'm going to have to use a ghetto piping bag, which is just a clear plastic bag. So anyway, start putting it in. It gets a little bit messy at this point, but that's okay. Just live in the mess. Embrace the mess. It's okay. This is a really long recipe. I'm not gonna lie, it took me like 3 hours to do. But it's a labor of love, and I only make them once a year. Okay, so we're gonna get our ladyfinger pan out, give it a good spray down. This is a really important part because we don't want any of the ladyfingers, for lack of a better word, ladyfinger cakes, to be sticking to the pan when we take them out. Now that we have them piped out, we're just going to dab them down and put them in the oven at 375 for 10 minutes. And now we're going to work on our custard. So for this part, you don't really want to leave the custard on the stove. You'd like to be consistently stirring it until it reaches that point where it starts to thicken up. Because if you don't babysit it, you put it at risk for burning the bottom. Don't ask me how I know. It's about right here where you can notice that it starts to thicken up a little bit. And then right here is where it starts to thicken up a lot, and this is what you want. At this point, you're going to turn it down and put your butter in. Get your mixie tool out and mix until everything is happily blended together. When it looks like this, take it off the heat. And we're now going to work on incorporating the allulose. So allulose is a fairly new sweetener. It's been approved in the US. It has not been approved in Canada due to its limited use and study for consumption, which is interesting because aspartame has been approved for quite a while and we know that it causes cancer. When the allulose and water is mixed together, we're going to incorporate it into the custard base. It's going to get lumpy at first. As long as you keep mixing it up, it should start to get smoother. Might take a bit of muscle power, but I have faith in you. Now that it's smooth, we're just going to let it sit for a little bit until it gets to about this consistency. It's sort of jello-ish, pudding-ish. That was our 10-minute timer to get the ladyfinger cakes out of the oven. Alright, so just push those aside and grab a cooling rack. If you're like me and broke your cooling rack last week and haven't replaced it, but you're street smart, just go ahead and grab something that has some holes in it to help with the cooling process. Alright, so we're going to take our ladyfinger cakes out, lay them on our holy pizza pan or whatever you have. We're going to put those aside and we're going to work on 2 more rounds of these. In the meantime, I'm going to go hang out with some local wildlife. After I was done hanging out with Beastie, I made sure to wash my dirty pirate bunny hands. Because, you know, viruses and bacteria. Once the ladyfingers are out of the oven and are cooled off, this is a great opportunity to get a kid involved and learn some knife skills. I was held at Nerf gunpoint, so I had no choice on the matter. Alright, so we're on the last leg of it. We're on to the construction portion of it. Probably you've invested about 2.5 hours into this by now. So we're going to grab our ghetto piping bag, put in our custard, and then I've done one example cookie already, and then I'm just going to show you how to piece them together. It's really simple, but it is time consuming because you end up having to do them all. I did try and cheat and do like every other one, but it didn't work. It just didn't fill the gap in the middle very well, and they didn't stick together. So you could do it this way individually, or you could just lay them all out assembly style, put your custard on, and then piece them together. Unfortunately, you are going to have some casualties of war. The only solution to this, well, so some small print here. The maraschino cherry is not sugar-free. And even if there was a sugar-free cherry syrup that they preserve it in, there's no really getting around that cherries have sugar in it. So you can either omit the cherries or be like, well, a little sliver's not going to hurt, right? Okay, that's it for today. Thanks everybody for watching. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe. That shows me that you like and appreciate what I do and what I show. Thank you to my good friend Sarah and her mother Ruth for introducing me to the original recipe. I had so much fun making this. Thanks, guys.